This My Access Administration training presentation is brought to you by the Office of Assessment and Accountability, known as OEAA, and the Test Administration and Reporting Division. This presentation will provide timely information regarding end-to-end testing activities for the My Access Functional Independence Assessments. Presentation topics include what's new with My Access assessment information, and accommodations and support. Also, before testing, preparing for administration, during testing, administration, and after testing, post-administration activities, and finally, our contact information. Here's what is new for Spring 2024. Online test directions will be required listening for students on the initial login. Students and administrators will not be able to advance the test until the directions have been read. Online test sessions set up in DRC Insight portal only. Test sessions will only be done in the DRC Insight portal, which will be available beginning March 1, 2024. Sessions will no longer be managed in the OEAA secure site. Updates to incident reporting have been made for 2 incident types: prohibited behavior and for students experiencing a mental health crisis. See the Test Administration Manual for details. Additional updates for Spring 2024. OEAA Secure Site Pre-ID report warnings will highlight entries to alert users to possible errors in the pre-ID of some students, including My Access disability type, which indicates the student's primary disability might not be consistent with the definition of a student with the most significant cognitive disabilities. My Access Past Performance, which looks at repetitive surpassing performance indicating the student's instructional targets may need to be adjusted. My Access Past Performance, which looks at repetitive surpassing performance indicating the student may need to be placed in a different assessment by IEP team. My Access Non-Adjacent is a warning triggered by a student pre-ID to any non-adjacent combinations of summative assessments in the same school. Be sure to review the above warnings with your test coordinator and special education supervisor to determine if these warnings apply and that the final pre-identification data assigned test is correct and appropriate. Finally, we have these 2 additional updates. A technology update. Data Recognition Corporation, known as DRC, has implemented a security enhancement that may affect some sites and require local information technology staff to change the way they update the DRC Insight secure browser software on testing devices. Moving forward, only admin-level users will be allowed to update the DRC Insight secure browser on Windows and Mac OS testing devices. The OEAA security compliance forms have been updated to include an affirmation that the test administrator has received training to administer the My Access. General information. This section covers the My Access assessment information and provides an overview of the My Access alternate assessment program. My Access is designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities who have a disability or multiple disabilities that significantly impair cognitive and adaptive functioning, have extensive support needs, and have a majority of instruction and goals that are based on Michigan's alternate content expectations. My Access is not intended for students with mild impairments or solely with high incidence of types of disabilities. For example, learning disability speech impairment. My Access is not intended for students solely with a behavioral or sensory perceptual type of impairment. For example, emotional impairment or hearing impairment. My Access is not a default assessment for all students with moderate to high or specialized support needs. For example, not only and not all students with autism. My Access is not a default assessment to allow for better student outcomes. My Access is designed only for students with IEP goals that are aligned to the alternate achievement expectations in lieu of the general grade level standards. Students that meet the inclusion criteria and receive alternate instruction as part of a daily routine. My Access has 3 levels of participation to match this instruction: high, medium, and low. The first level of the assessment we will look at is Functional Independence, or FI. The FI assessments are for students whose IEP goals and instructional approach is aligned most closely with the high range of complexity of the alternate content expectations. Students at this level typically assess their own personal strengths and limitation and can access resources, strategies, and supports to help them maximize their independence. These are students who, based on his or her disability, are not able to work toward general content standards. The next level of assessment is Supported Independence, or SI. This is for students whose IEP goals and instructional approach is aligned most closely with the medium range of complexity of the alternate content expectations. Students at this level require ongoing support in major life roles and may have cognitive and/or physical impairments that limits their ability to generalize or transfer learning. The instructional approach taken for these students is direct and in context and targeted towards specific essential independent living and academic skills. The third level of the assessment is participation, or P assessments, and these are for students whose IEP goals and instructional approach is aligned most closely with the low range of complexity when working toward the alternate content expectations. Students at this level may require extensive and ongoing support in adulthood. They may have significant cognitive and/or physical impairments that limit their ability to generalize or transfer learning. Typically, they are dependent on others for most, if not all, daily living needs. The instructional approach for these students targets opportunities for them to integrate all age-appropriate tasks and activities related to daily living skills and academic content. The guidelines for participation in MyAccess can be found on the MyAccess webpage. Follow this link or QR code to the MyAccess webpage where you will find a link to the guidelines. This document can help identify the appropriate assessment for a student. The MyAccess webpage also provides training opportunities under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. First is the Assessment Selection Guidelines training, which is a robust resource to train staff in recognizing what level of the assessment is most appropriate for the student. The second tool is the Assessment Selection Guidance, which is an interactive decision-making tool. It walks users through a sequence of yes and no questions and answers to arrive at the most appropriate assessment for the student. Both are excellent resources for IEP teams to make the most appropriate decision for the student. The MyAccess FI assessments are administered in grades 3 through 8 and 11 in ELA and Math. The ELA assessments include accessing print and using language as well as expressing ideas. Science and social studies are administered in grades 5, 8, and 11. The constructed response, or CR, and the selected responses, or SR, make up the paper/pencil and online blueprints for the MyAccess test questions. For functional independence ELA, there are 41 items and 2 constructed response items for the expressing ideas, in the paper version only, for grades 3 through 8 and 11. Mathematics contains 34 selected response items for all grades. Science tests have 36 selected response items for grade 5 and 51 items for grades 8 and 11. Social Studies has 40, 42, and 52 selected response items in grades 5, 8, and 11, respectively. Over the years, we've been asked if students can be assessed in more than one type of the MyAccess assessment. The answer is yes. Students may be assessed using multiple levels of the tests. For example, MyAccess FI flexibility will allow for the FI and SI assessments to be combined. For instance, FI Math and ELA for SI. Note: FI Social Studies may also be used with SI tests, but not with participation level tests. Test types must be adjacent. For example, FI and SI. Non-adjacent types are not permitted. For example, FI and P. M-STEP may also be split with MyAccess FI only. PSAT in grade 8 may be combined with FI only. Note: ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit. SAT may be combined with grade 11 FI only. Note: ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit. All decisions regarding assessment use must be documented in the IEP. Can students take any type of MyAccess assessment?
No.
There are some limits. MyAccess flexibility is limited to only adjacent levels of testing. This chart shows the limits between valid and invalid testing scenarios. The left green column outlines the valid testing scenarios based on adjacent levels of testing. The right orange column outlines the invalid testing scenarios based on non-adjacent levels of testing. Note: ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit and cannot be split. The functional independence assessment is administered in 2 modes: paper/pencil and online. The directions for the paper/pencil test are in the test administration manual. The test directions for the online testing are embedded in the online test. And the paper/pencil students mark responses in the booklet except for expressing ideas. For online testing, students interact directly with the online test and select the answer. For the paper/pencil assessment, the test administrator may read the test to the student per the read aloud instructions inside the front cover. For online testing, the text-to-speech feature will begin upon login and headphones are required. The paper/pencil booklet may be used for scratch paper. For online testing, scratch paper is optional, but must be collected and destroyed after testing if used. For paper/pencil testing, calculators may be used if they are part of the student's routine class instruction. Online calculators are available for online testing for some math questions. For the paper/pencil testing, administrators transfer the responses from the student from the booklet to the student answer document. For online testing, the administrator reviews the summary screen before submitting the online test for the student. There is one very important functional independence reminder for ELA. The Expressing Ideas assessment is a paper version for all students taking ELA regardless of the mode of testing. Students must respond to both prompts. Students may answer with writing, drawing, or any combination of both. Universal tools, designated support, and accommodations are available. Expressing Ideas must be returned to the scoring contractor to receive a valid ELA scale score. The district coordinator provides overall assessment support and responsibility for the following. Ensure all students are pre-identified and moved from M-Step to MyAccess in the secure site as early as possible. Ensure any students removed from M-Step are also removed from those test sessions in the Insight portal, and any printed M-Step tickets are destroyed. Order test materials as needed. Ensure the OEAA security compliance forms are completed by all staff. Ensure procedures for material handling security are developed and followed, including a chain of custody for all materials. Complete the MDE assessment security modules through Michigan Virtual at the link shown. Read the assessment integrity guide found on the webpage. The district coordinator also assists schools in receiving and returning all test materials as needed. They manage the answer document and test verification process. This is the last chance to make sure all answer documents have been processed. Also, document why students may not have been tested. The district coordinator ensures any testing irregularities are reported by submitting an incident report in the secure site. Review and distribute final reports which will be released in late summer through the secure site. Assessment coordinator training is located on the webpage or by using QR code. The role of the building or the school coordinator for MyAccess includes the following responsibilities. Manage all aspects of the assessment in collaboration with the district coordinator. Coordinate staff training for administration and test security at their school. Ensure the students have access to the practice test with the online tools training system found on the MyAccess webpage. Assist with receiving and returning of test materials as needed. Ensure proper implementation of material security procedures at the school level. Properly disseminate and collect test materials from assessment administrators. The building coordinator must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual at the link shown here, and also on the webpage. Read the Assessment Integrity Guide, also found on the webpage. The Assessment Coordinator training is located on the webpage header, and the QR code will also lead you to the guide. The role of the assessment administrator for functional independence includes several responsibilities. The FI tests are designed to be administered one-on-one or in small groups, 5 or fewer students. Here are a few things to remember. The assessment administrator must be a certified professional staff member such as a teacher, school psychologist, related service provider, or teacher consultant. This person will assist the student getting started with the booklet or login for the online testers. Test materials must always be securely locked when not being used for test preparation or administration. Monitor student progress and assist to help minimize any distractions for the student or fellow students. Transfer student responses from the test booklet to the answer document, paper/pencil, after administering test. Administrators should also assist the student with the student-facing technology as needed. Submit online test when the student is finished. Return all testing materials to the coordinator after testing. Administrators must work with the coordinator to complete test administration and test security. The Resources section is designed to provide resources to answer most of your questions and provide opportunities for training of other staff members. The Michigan Department of Education has developed a guide to all our state assessments, and it can be located on the My Access webpage. The Test Administration Manual, TAM, provides the following: general information about the assessment, an overview of what to expect, supports and accommodations, roles and responsibilities, activities before, during, and after testing, materials return section, and finally, an appendix section with a variety of helpful materials. The My Access web page provides a number of links to resources, the alternate content expectations, which are found in the web page header, guidelines for participation, also found in the web page header, the OEAA Secure Site Login page, the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide, our Spotlight weekly publication, the My School Data link, and the contact information for OEAA. The My Access webpage also provides links in the Current Assessment Administration section, which includes Test Administration Manual, Assessment Flowcharts, the Guide to State Assessments, a link to the DRC Insight Portal, the Assessment Integrity Guide, and the Electronic Device Policy. The My Access webpage also provides a link to the Assessment Calendars webpage, where you will find the list of important dates in PDF format and lists of assessment program dates in an Excel spreadsheet. A Google Calendar option is also available for those who want to be informed through their calendar what activities are approaching with regard to state assessments. This includes Google Help information and resources for task follow-up. The Spring 2024 Summative Assessment Calendar is available on the Calendar webpage. The My Access testing window is a 7-week continuous window from April 12th through May 24th. The calendar includes all the Michigan assessments and the appropriate windows for the administration. The My Access webpage also includes a training section and resources for educators, including the administration training video, the Functional Independence online tools training information for student practice testing, the OEAA Secure Site training documentation, and the assessment security training. The My Access webpage also provides a link to the Assessment Security Training webpage in the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. The Assessment Integrity and Security webpage provides assessment security practices resources, test security and administration monitoring, assessment security and planning documents, assessment security training for coordinators, administrators, and staff, and allegation reporting resources for misadministration, irregularities, and unethical behavior. Another resource for assessment coordinators is the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide, found at this link and on the My Access webpage. This guide is a chapter-driven document that provides a brief but important outline of all aspects of training and assessment. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide provides a before testing overview, which includes Assessment Coordinator Training, Quick Reference, and Quick Start Guide. The assessment systems include Introduction to Testing Technology, DRC Insight Portal Basic, Secure Site Training, Educational Entity Master, EM, Resource, and Michigan Student Data System, MSDS. The Student Supports and Accommodations section offers Student Supports and Accommodation Overview, selecting and assigning universal tools, designated support, and accommodations. The Test Security chapter includes an overview of test security, appropriate practices for test security, and incident reporting. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to also help you with activities before testing. When you are getting ready for testing, there are a variety of documents in the guide that will help you with training and resources. These include pre-identification of students, report codes and research codes, preparing yourself and staff as a building coordinator and as a district coordinator, preparing students and parents for testing, initial and additional material orders, My Access who takes an alternate assessment, and My Access assessment preparation. The Coordinator Guide also provides information for what to do during testing for My Access assessment administrations. There is also a third section on the after-testing activities, which includes post-administration tasks and reports such as materials return, accountable students enrolled and demographics, and introduction to testing technology. A chapter is also provided focusing on assessment data and reporting, including preliminary reports, data files, and final reporting. The primary goal of assessment security is to protect the integrity of the assessment and to ensure that the results are accurate and meaningful. The OEAA has developed an assessment security goal for the state of Michigan. The goal is to provide secure assessments that result in valid and reliable scores, to adhere to high professional test administration and security standards, to maintain consistency across all testing occasions and sites, that is, schools and students, and to promote the investments of resources, time, and energy. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides several items including information on the prevention and detection of testing irregularities, guidance for follow-up and resolution of any identified testing irregularity, ensure all procedures before, during, and after the testing administration lead to student results that more accurately reflect a valid and reliable measure of students' unique and true educational knowledge, skills, and abilities. Updated information for spring 2023 should be reviewed for the updated testing policies. It is also located on the My Access webpage. The security compliance forms are to be read and signed by all staff involved in state assessments. The staff agreements are for confirming training and proper observance of security processes. The security compliance forms are to be kept on hand at the district for a minimum of 3 years. These forms are available on all state assessment web pages, including My Access. The OEAA has developed an electronic device policy for testing, which is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide and the Test Administration Manual. This guide is designed to help district and building coordinators develop an internal policy regarding personal electronic devices during testing. The guide includes examples of electronic devices, a policy for students, and a policy for test administrators/monitors and staff. It includes best practices or acceptable and prohibited practices for students and staff. All staff members who participate in the administration of a state assessment must be fully trained in assessment security each year. District/building assessment coordinators must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. After completion of the training course, a refresher course is available for subsequent years' training. Staff must also read the Assessment Integrity Guide. Test administrators, room supervisors, proctors must read the Assessment Security for Test Administrators document, located in the TAM Appendix C, page 91, and or complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. The new Active Monitoring Best Practices document provides detailed descriptions of administration practices that are required. Then, best practices are described, practices that are acceptable, and finally, prohibited practices are listed. The document is in the Test Administration Manual Appendix D, on page 101. Off-site testing requirements. Off-site testing is for schools who cannot test on-site at their school buildings. Off-site testing also occurs for individual students. When a school is providing educational services to a homebound student, students are hospitalized during the testing window, or students are expelled with services. The test administrators must be familiar to the student to avoid any distractions and recognize the special needs of the student. The Off-Site Test Administration Request is found under the Assessment Registration tab in the OEAA Secure site. Select Off-Site Test Administration Request. The window to submit off-site test administration requests is open now through May 23, 2024. The test monitoring application is available through the DRC Insight portal, which allows users to actively monitor student-facing FI administration. It allows coordinators to track student progress on the online testing. Video is available at this link to provide training on how to use the application. Based on the feedback from last year, the Appendix D of the Test Administration Manual provides detailed information regarding the application. Training is also available in the DRC Library of Training Documents. Incidents or testing irregularities frequently occur during testing and must be submitted on the Incident Report page of the OEAA Secure site. There are several common types of incidents, including testing not completed, duplicate testing of students, tests submitted in error, prohibited behavior or cheating, accommodation or designated support was not given or given inappropriately, and technical problems with online testing. An incident report instruction sheet, which is found on the Secure Site training page, provides details for completing the report. The OEAA staff will respond to remedy the situation once the report is filed. The OEAA Secure Site is a web-based application used for managing state assessments and contains FERPA student information. The Secure Site is only available to authorized ISD, district, and school staff members that require it as part of their role in state assessments. The primary functions of the Secure Site are pre-identification of students for all assessments, ordering paper and pencil tests including accommodated versions, incident reporting, Accountable students enrolled and demographics review. Answer documents received and not tested review and submission, and access to student data files and score reports. How do users get access to the secure site? Go to www.michigan.gov/secure-site training and click right at the top of the page where it reads "How do I get access to secure site?" That will bring up the Request Access page, which gives you direction for how to request access. Log into the OEAA secure site using your MEIS login and password. The OEAA secure site is a site that you will use quite frequently throughout testing. Before testing, the secure site is accessed to pre-identify students for state assessments, print barcode labels for paper answer documents, and order materials. During testing, the secure site is used for off-site test administration requests and incident reporting. After testing, the secure site will be used as the accountable students and test verification window beginning in June, and to access student test scores, download data files, and access the reports that are available in the dynamic score reporting site. Initial material orders, known as IMOs, are processed through the OEAA secure site and are based on your pre-ID counts. IMOs are sent to coordinators by default and to the district unless designated to individual buildings in the district. Users may select an alternate delivery date, either March 25th through 27 or April 1st through 3. Additional material orders are also processed through the secure site, but are based on materials selected by the user after the initial window has closed. The dates for the ordering windows are listed on the My Access Important Dates document found on the My Access webpage. While these dates may have passed for this year, they typically fall within the range of similar dates year to year. Please review the list of important dates on the web page to confirm each year's exact dates. The initial material orders permits users to search by test cycle and then select shipping destination and delivery dates. The first date listed is the default date and an alternate delivery date as well. The address listed is based on the address for the My Access coordinator in the EEM. Make sure you verify that this is correct so that your materials are sent to the correct place. IMOs are automatically generated based on your pre-ID count, and you can view your order from this screen. Please check the list of important dates for the IMO active dates. You can still place material orders if you have any need for additional materials. The window for additional materials orders is listed here, April 4th through May 21st. These dates are also listed in the important dates documents. When your materials arrive, be sure that you inventory all of your secure materials when you receive them. Use the packing slip that's included in your delivery to verify that everything listed on the packing slip is included in your order. All secure materials are required to be returned to the scoring contractor. This includes accommodated versions of the test booklets, and more. If these are not returned, you will be required to locate the missing materials. We need to remedy all material discrepancies at the time of delivery. If you do your inventory and there are errors, send an email to mde-oeaa@michigan.gov so that the missing secure materials can be located. All secure materials must be retained in a secure, locked location within the school. This cannot be just in a locked office, like on the principal or assessment coordinator's desk, because it's possible that the office can be left unattended and the materials are not secure. Distributing and collecting materials daily apply throughout the testing process, including during the planning stage. Secure materials for online testing are test rosters and test tickets, and any used scratch or graph paper. For paper/pencil testing, secure materials include test booklets, used answer documents, any accommodation version of the test, or audio flash drives, listening scripts. Make sure you review the TAM if you have any questions about what are secure materials. The DRC Insight portal is available for online test administration tasks through May 24, 2024. Students who were pre-identified in the OEAA secure site have been copied into the DRC Insight portal. Students can continue to be pre-identified in the OEAA secure site and will be copied into the DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. Test sessions will be created/managed in the DRC Insight portal exclusively. This table shows who needs access and the associated secure site role in order for them to have the correct access. Technology coordinators must have access, and the secure site roles they should be assigned are listed here. Either district or school-level access, and for school-level access it is either public or non-public schools. District and building coordinators also must have access to work in the DRC Insight portal. They are sorted the same way as technology coordinators, either district or school-level access, and the school access is separated into public and non-public schools. Test administrators only need access if they will be using the test monitoring application for FI. If you are not using the test monitoring application, there is no need for test administrators to have secure access. SI/P score entry is an internet-based URL access to the online answer document and does not use the DRC portal for score entry. Accommodations and supports. Very briefly, I want to touch on the accommodations and supports for students. Decisions regarding the universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations needed for instruction and assessment for students with disabilities are made by the IEP team. Universal tools are available to all students and to be used as primarily student-driven as needed. Designated supports are available to individual students who have specific needs, and this is used primarily as educator-driven. Accommodations are available to students with disabilities whose needs are more specific and must be approved and documented in the IEP. Before testing, coordinators should facilitate a meeting with appropriate staff who will be involved in the student testing to review all the supports for the students to ensure that they are clearly defined and understood. Then you should assign all of the universal tools, designated supports, or accommodations in the DRC Insight portal. Once this is done, make sure that your test administrators are made aware of all supports and accommodations that students need in their test sessions. This is important because support or accommodation may be delivered through the online testing engine or during paper/pencil testing. Some schools use Google Sheets or other collaborative software to make sure that everyone is aware of what is needed. Again, you can use this process or another process, but the important thing is that all test administrators know every support and accommodation that each student should or should not have in each test session. Then, once everyone knows everything they need to know, you'll need to make sure they have access to all of the materials to provide the supports and accommodations. All supports and accommodations must be selected in the DRC Insight portal before printing test tickets and testing rosters for online administration. The following online supports will be available for all students testing functional independence, FI. DS. Text-to-speech with follow-along, TTS defaults to on at login. DS. Color chooser. DS. Contrasting color. Calculator for applicable math items. The following online supports will be available by student and must be turned on in the DRC Insight portal before printing the student test ticket for My Access FI. UT, Continuous Magnification 200. Abbreviation is CM.
DS Masking.
Abbreviation is MS.
DS Scribe.
Abbreviation is S. DRC provides a video training for assigning student supports and accommodations in the DRC mini-module library of trainings. Before testing, preparation for administration. Getting ready for the My Access FI administration can involve a great deal of training and planning ahead of time. In this section, we will cover the activities leading up to testing. There are several things to remember when preparing for the assessment administration. Determine who has access to DRC Insight portal and how online student test tickets will be printed and distributed. Show FI online students the assessment tutorials and give students opportunity to practice using the online tools training, OTTs. For the testing environment for the student, you should consider the following. 2 test tickets are required since there are 2 parts to each online assessment. Does not matter which part is given first. Breaks are encouraged based on student needs. For FI, ELA expressing ideas is an additional part, paper/pencil for all. Ensure students are getting all required supports and accommodations. Scribes, for paper or online navigation, must understand the scribe protocol found in the Supports and Accommodations Guidance document on page 47 and located on the My Access webpage. Students are automatically registered or pre-identified in M-STEP and must be moved to My Access in the OEAA Secure site by content area, online or paper/pencil, and type FI, SI, or P, according to IEP. Ensure students are removed from any active M-STEP sessions and those session test tickets destroyed. If not, this could lead to confusion and students being tested in both My Access and M-STEP unnecessarily. Students pre-ID for paper version of FI test before February 14th will have student labels shipped with initial material orders. Pre-ID student labels may be printed from the OEAA secure site as needed. Schools may continue to pre-identify students on the OEAA secure site, which will be uploaded to the DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. All students taking My Access must be flagged as special education, noted as SE in MSDS. Inventory all materials upon arrival for accuracy before distributing. Review or place test material orders in the secure site for paper/pencil testing. Be sure to follow all security procedures for testing materials when not being used for either assessment preparation and/or administering the test. Ensure student barcode labels are correct and affixed to the FI answer document. Students pre-identified in the secure site will be uploaded to DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. Enter all accommodations for students in the DRC portal prior to printing test tickets. The test tickets and rosters generated will then display the accommodations and supports needed for the student. The DRC portal will open March 1st to create and manage all online test sessions. Test Administration Manual, known as the TAM, provides details on how to prepare for the assessments. The Functional Independence TAM covers the online testing features and how to administer them. The TAM also provides instruction for students using paper/pencil and test directions for all content areas. The FI TAM provides administration details for beginning to end tasks required to complete the testing. The FI TAM is available on the web page. DRC provides a student tutorial that can be found in the portal. You may access this tutorial without a login on their welcome page, or you may open the DRC Insight testing engine and select the tutorial link at the bottom of the screen. The My Access FI tutorial will help the building coordinators and assessment administrators, as well as students using the software and tools to navigate the testing environment. The tutorials also show students how to navigate, sign in, pause, exit, and submit a test. These tutorials are essential to successful participation in the FI online assessment. DRC also provides online tools training, OTTs. The OTT is a practice test for the students to become familiar with online testing. This allows students to try out the features of the testing environment. The OTTs are practice tests and not scored. The goal is to provide practice in using the tools, and these are not grade-specific or content area-specific. To access the OTTs, use a Chrome browser and navigate to the link shown. You may also open the DRC Insight testing engine and select the online tools training link. There is also a mini-module that you can view to help you with the OTTs and how to access them. The math tests have an embedded calculator for some of the items. The test engine uses the online Desmos calculator. This calculator can also be found in the OTTs for practice purposes. Further information about the Desmos calculators can be found at www.desmos.com. DRC Insight is the name of the online testing engine. It is a secure web browser for Windows and Mac devices. This platform is a secure web browser designed to prevent students from accessing any other programs once it is launched. DRC Insight is accessed via an app on iPads. On Chromebooks, it is used with kiosk mode. DRC Insight provides access to the test sign-in during testing activities. Now we move into the area of test administration and the activities surrounding the day of testing. The FI assessment have both paper and pencil, as well as online, features as noted in this flowchart. Assessments may be completed in paper-pencil, left column of chart, or online, right column, per the IEP instructions. The student marks the paper-pencil test booklet with their responses. The administrator transfers those responses to the answer document for the student. Online students will interact directly with the test in the online test engine. Since the ELA Expressing Ideas assessment must be completed with paper for all ELA students, it is important to remember to administer and to return the Expressing Ideas test for scoring as noted by the red arrow in the flowchart. The Expressing Ideas test is required to receive an overall valid ELA score. Assessment administrators are requested to log in for the student. The blue screen shows the required fields for username and password. Administrators must be prepared to assist the students, including with any technology interferences. There are important details to know about the online assessment. Assessment administrators should log into the assessment for the student as mentioned. On screen 2, select the test that the student will be taking. The audio will automatically begin to read from this point. Headphones are required. unless in a one-on-one administration. Review the test ticket to confirm if any listed accommodations are actively available. Once students click the Next button, they're going to enter the first part of the assessment. This is a review of the tools required to take the assessment, such as the pointer tool, the highlighter, the magnifier, the calculator for the math assessments, and so forth. Note, this is just a review. This is not an in-depth instruction on how to use each of the tools. For the in-depth instruction on how to use each tool, please rely on the online tools training program. Also note, the test directions are required listening on the initial login only. After the tools review, the student will read, hear instructions, and click the Begin the Test button. This will take the student to the first question in the test. The text-to-speech with follow-along is on by default for all online tests. If this presents a distraction for a student, this can be disabled by using the Options button. Be sure the volume is on for the 2 listening items at the start of Part 2 of the ELA assessment. Headphones are required for this test, and for small group administration, 5 or fewer students. If the student is taking a break, do not let them submit the test. Select Pause to stop for up to 20 minutes, and a countdown timer will begin. Select Resume to continue. To leave the session, select Pause Exit, and you may log back in later with the same test ticket. When the student is done, help them with the review screen. This allows the student to see what items have been answered or not. Select any item with an unchecked box and ask, "Are you finished with this question?" Do not give a prompt to complete, just raise awareness with the student. When you are finished, you may select the End Test button and it will give you the option to return to test or submit it. For the paper/pencil functional independence administration, please do the following. Ensure that students are marking answers in the test booklet only. Check the student's name, teacher name, and school name to make sure they are accurate and complete on the booklet cover. Listening scripts will be provided for ELA accessing print test. These will be read to the student by the test administrator. Administrators transfer all student responses onto the paper answer document. Check to make sure the answer document has a student label and all sections of the front cover are completed accurately. Securely store all assessment materials after testing or return all materials to the coordinator promptly. Here are some reminders and additional administration tips. Students must be enrolled as special education. Abbreviation is SE in MSDS. The Functional Independence ELA Expressing Ideas assessment is paper only and required even if the student is online testing. The Functional Independence answer document is completed by test administrators. Accommodated versions must be documented in the IEP and typically part of a student's daily instruction. Bubbles filled in on the answer document should be completed with a number 2 pencil. Functional independence administrators may help the students with the test, but not on the test for paper and for online testing. Be sure to read the FI manual on the My Access webpage. After testing, post-administration activities. When all the testing administrations are complete, there are some critical steps to returning and wrapping up all of the post-administration activities. We will cover those now for the online and for the paper pencil testing. For the functional independence test, it is important to review the summary screen by selecting Review/End Test. We do recommend that the administrator help navigate for the student to complete the testing. Administrators should encourage the students to complete their work if any questions are unanswered. We also recommend that the administrators complete the process for ending the test and submitting the test for the student. It is very important for the coordinators to inventory all materials before shipping back to the scoring contractor. Use the original materials packing list to verify that all materials listed are included in your returns. All secure materials must be returned to the scoring contractor. If any secure materials are not returned by the materials deadline, MDE will contact the school to locate any missing items. This is important because failure to return all secure materials may result in the district or school being placed on a future monitoring list. The Functional Independence TAM provides a material return section that includes a material handling table showing the items to be returned, retained, and destroyed by schools. It also includes the time frames for retaining or returning items. The QR code will take you to the web page where the manuals are posted. The manual return section also provides a packing and shipping diagram which includes specific details of what material types to return, detailed instructions for the packing sequence, the labeling of the shipment, and the shipping deadline. The last day to ship materials is May 29, 2024. Used testing material that arrives past the scoring deadline will not be scored. Contact information. In this closing slide, we are providing our contact information. Thank you for taking the time to review this training presentation. You may reach the Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability at mde-oeaa@michigan.gov. Questions may also be sent directly to our office via the help desk by calling 877-560-8378. For weekly updates from the OEAA, please subscribe to the Spotlight on Student Assessment and Accountability newsletter. This weekly newsletter provides timely articles, announcements, important dates, and approaching deadlines. A link to the Spotlight is also found on the My Access webpage header.